Okay, what is up? Um, Deciding to do Fridays message on Thursday nights, and I just think, given that there's a fun conversation that's going to be had Friday morning, it's probably best I do it now. Just I know it sounds like I'm thinking negatively, but just in case things don't go the right way that maybe I'd want them to, or maybe my partner would want them to, we sit and yeah, we get it done now, and that way there's no missing of the day. I think today was good. um I feel a bit free. I feel a bit more open, especially to the latter part of the day. I think the beginning of the day is still tough, still difficult. These things obviously are helping, just with my sanity, to be honest with you. I think there's if I didn't have any outlet like this, I think I would be in a lot worse for wear, so to say. Um, Definitely, yeah. I think that's where my fault was a lot of the time, even growing up. I think a lot, I think you all would be the same. As we don't have an outlet, we don't have someone to really go talk to. I see a lot of today's times where we have quote unquote friends, but we don't have friends, and there's lots of people that you are around, but there's not a lot of people that you are able to talk to about these things. And there's a lot of different things that can be involved. I mean, for me, it's pride always. I'll never tell my parents. I don't tell my sister very often. This is one of the things she knows about. But my life, for the better part of whatever bad goes on into I keep it to myself, just because, yeah, I'm very proud. Um, I don't know what of. There's a lot. There's a. It's quite weird in that sense. I'm like, yeah, why not ask everyone who's kind of in a better place than you for help? It's such a weird thing when I say it out loud, but I don't know. Just for me, pride. I feel a bit ashamed, embarrassed, and I think today I had a friend, and yeah, like, ugh, I got to gym early because, yeah, like for me, now that I can walk, that's the positive. Now that I'm free and I can move, um, my my kind of outlet is this, and probably the gym. I'm sore. I'm so sore, but it feels good, and I got very early because I'm just gonna do extra. Don't care how sore I am. I'm just gonna do what everyone else just says. Just bite your lip and just go for it. And yeah, I see him outside. He asks me what's. Come sit next to him. What's wrong? This bear in mind, he's the closest he got to me was about 3 meters. So I sat there and he's like, "What's wrong?" And yeah, I just put my head in my face, man. It's so it's so weird that, like, just wait. This is the same thing that happened with him as well. Um, it's so weird that I don't know if it's just me, or if maybe you guys could say if you feel the same, but like, for me, because you feel like you're fighting so much internally, and you're going through things, and like I just said, you don't share them with anyone, and you just keep them to yourself. As soon as someone asks just how you're doing, it's that right moment of bam, you break. And that kind of felt like the right moment. So I didn't, like, get all watery. I got watery eyed and flip and sob everywhere. And if you do sob, it's completely fine. Like for me, it's still I'm holding on to that little bit of pride, you know. But yeah, and I just spoke to him about some stuff, and the tough part about people, and it's so. And I'm sitting back and I'm looking at it now. I didn't think I didn't think I realized. what I was saying when I said it, right? And I'm coming to that epiphany right now, is that I sat and he gives me certain pieces of advice, and somebody else comes in, sorry, it's bothering me, then she gives me a piece of advice, similar but still a bit different. Then I speak to another guy who's a mutual friend, and he gives me different advice. And then I speak to my sister, and she gives me different advice. And then I speak to everyone that I speak to. Everyone has a different piece of advice or a different opinion on what should happen. And what I always tell you guys is, the nice thing about being biblically aligned is that your compasses north are the same. And these guys are also Christians. They're also in there going through their own thing. And like he said, he's also got things that he's got to work on and stuff, but he feels a certain way with this situation. And for me, I also think that I should do things in my way, my different way. And then you listen to everyone else, and I'm like, my way apparently is wrong. But it just sounds like we all are, like, despite your biblical alignment or what you would say, everyone is still in their own different direction. And that's why I said this needs to be your guide. If you don't do this, you lose that north. Because even if your intentions are good, and even if you want to help, and you have experience in fields or situations like what I'm going through, I just feel like the problem will always be that we all perceiving what we think is best from our experience, from our life, from our experience with other people, from our experience, what we've heard, what we've seen, and we're not being led here. I think one thing that I enjoy, if you guys, whoever's been watching, I see there's a few views, but whoever's been watching consistently, there's like a 1% of you. Shout out to the 1%. But something that's really, really sticks with me is I tell people my motivation through what I've read here. I think we looking for a wife. I think it's for Isaac. Rebecca, is it Rebecca? No, it is Rebecca, if I'm not mistaken. And how the servant went to God and said, God, this is what I'm going to ask. This is what I require. Like, if this is what they answer, then that's the right girl. So I use that example for exactly what I'm going to do. I then go back into, I then go look at Jacob, and how should God promise Jacob the family heirloom or the family riches, but he deceived and he got it his own way. And even though he was a faithful servant to God and he did what God asked, he still got punished, in the sense of, like, karma came around. I know karma is not the right word, but he had to still atone for his sins. And then I go to other people and I go, well, I'm reading that, and I think the way I treated my last partner and the way things ended there, maybe God is just going, Josh, unfortunately, this is the lesson you have to learn for you to understand what you did before. And that sucks too. So then I don't know if you can, like, there's many more things. I mean, I don't know, man. You sit and, like I say, everyone's got different things, and I'm really trying to be biblically motivated in what I do. And to be honest, I was hoping that when I'll come here, the story that I read will somehow relate to my situation and give me the right answer. I've been fasting. I broke fast just now. I only actually broke fast at about 9ish, 8:45. So that's what, over, let's call it 15 hours of not eating. And like I say, the fasting's become so easy because, I don't know, if I'm hungry, God, please help me. That's all I say. Or if I'm hungry, I'm doing it because I need God to help me, or God's going to help me, and I'm going to lean on that. And I know I say fasting is not about strong arming God into doing what you want, but it's about getting your relationship closer. And I think for me right now, that is bringing my relationship closer to God, because now it's not a thing of He's just in my life in segments. He's in my life every little bit, you know. So yeah, let's see if that if that helps me tomorrow. And yeah, no matter what happens, like I say to everyone, I won't think ill of my partner. I won't hate them for their decision. I won't plot revenge. We learned that's not good. Yeah, I will always want the best for her, and like some people say, maybe you're just not the best for her. That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't make you someone that's not good at all. It just means that you two can be going in completely different directions in your life. One of you is probably at a different stage in life. Maybe you guys just, in the end, value different things that you're growing in. I might not be growing in the way that she wants me to grow, just like I might think she's not growing in the way I want her to grow. That doesn't make us wrong, doesn't make us bad people, doesn't make us evil in any sort of way. And yeah, I hold that belief with all my potential partners, ex-partners, whatever it may be. If this becomes an ex-partner, I tell you right now, I'm not looking, nor am I doing any of this again, man. It is, and I know we all say it, but damn, I sit and I go, I've been in pain for a month, a whole month. I've just been sore. And I look back and I'm just like, yo, I'm lucky in the sense of I started this because I think now that I live on my own, it's very tough dealing with stuff like this. Because there's no one, you don't feel people around you when you're on your own. You don't have, I don't have my sister just to go irritate and feel better about myself. I did the same with my parents, to be honest with you. So yeah, I don't have anyone to irritate. That's my outlet. And now with fasting, I've also cut gaming out. It's one of probably my biggest kind of addiction. I feel like I'm killing two birds with one stone there. And I just thought that would allow me to A, focus on training, B, focus on reading here instead of just turning on a game and going, I'm just going to sit and play this until I go tired and become tired and then move on with my life. And it's been tough. Like last night, I was bored. I really was. But did a little bit of work. That's also not healthy apparently, because I was like, I'm just going to work while I'm upset. And everyone looked at me like, dude, that doesn't sound healthy at all. And I'm just like, yeah, well, I need something to do. I need something to ease my mind. I need something to relax. I don't have anything to relax right now, so I'm stressing all the time. And that comes into what this is what sucks, man. Because then we go into what God told us. Don't stop stressing about the things that you cannot control. Do your part and God will do the rest. And there it is. I feel like that's it. That's maybe something I needed to hear. Maybe I needed to deep it. Maybe I needed to just think. Yeah. Because I sit back and I tell you right now, I was speaking to people, I'm like, I feel like I've done absolutely everything, and that's what's frustrating me, is to not know where you stand, but to have done everything. And it's so hypocritical because I'm telling people to do this exact thing, to stop stressing and just do what you need to do. God will take care of the rest. If it was meant to be, it's God's doing. If it wasn't, God is preparing you for something that you that you don't know about yet. Maybe it's a lesson. Maybe it's another book. Maybe calm down. Maybe it's another challenge. We both don't know about yet. And this is the tough part about this stuff, because every time I start to read my Bible, every time I start to go to church, I always feel like life ups its difficulty by 10 levels and tells me get on with it. And every single time I leave the situation, I leave this part, because I'm like, I hate coming here, because every time I come here, it means that there's a consequence to something that I've yet to think about. And I've come here with peace, I've come here with good intentions, but yet still I'm here and I'm hurting and something is going wrong in my life. Now, that being said, there's a big difference between now and then, and we'll see if it works or not. That's why we're doing this, is so that you guys can see through my language, but shit show over life. You guys can see if doing this worked in real time or if it didn't. I feel like a lot has gone right, in the sense of the job thing was a big life event for me. We can look at the way that I'm starting to apply these things into my life. I'm starting to work harder. I'm starting to put energy into a lot more than just selfish things. I'm starting to help others. The one thing that I said that I will always do. So, it's nearly a 20-minute rant. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, Joseph is thrown into prison. That's what we're reading. Genesis 39, 1-23. You can read along or you can do your own thing. So, when Joseph was taken to Egypt by the Ishmaelite traders, he was purchased by Potiphar, an Egyptian officer. Potiphar was the captain of the guard for Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. The Lord was with Joseph, so he succeeded in everything he did, as he served in the home of his Egyptian master. Potiphar noticed this and realized that the Lord was with Joseph, giving him success in everything he did. This pleased Potiphar, so he soon made Joseph his personal attendant. He put him in charge of his entire household and everything he owned. From the day Joseph was put in charge of the master's household and property, the Lord began to bless Potiphar's household for Joseph's sake. All his household affairs ran smoothly, and his crops and livestock flourished. So Potiphar gave Joseph complete administrative responsibility over everything he owned. With Joseph there, he didn't worry about a thing, except what kind of food to eat. Joseph was a very handsome and well-built young man, and Potiphar's wife soon began to look at him lustfully. "Come and sleep with me," she demanded. But Joseph refused. "Look," he told her, "my master trusts me with everything in his entire household. No one here has more authority than I do. He has held back nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How can I do such a wicked thing? It would be a great sin against God." She kept putting pressure on Joseph day after day, but he refused to sleep with her, and he kept out of her way as much as possible. One day, however, no one else was around when he went to do his work. She came and grabbed him by his cloak, demanding, "Come on, sleep with me." Joseph tore himself away, but left his cloak in her hand as he ran from the house. When she saw that she was holding his cloak and he had fled, she called out to her servants. Soon all men came running. "Look," she said, "my husband has brought this Hebrew slave here to make fools of us. He came into my room to rape me." But I screamed. When he heard me scream, he ran outside and got away. But he left his cloak behind with me. She kept the cloak with her until her husband came home. Then she told him her story. "That Hebrew slave you brought into our house tried to come in and fool around with me, she said. But when I screamed, he ran outside, leaving his cloak with me. Now Joseph was put in prison. Potiphar was furious when he heard his wife's story about how Joseph had treated her. So he took Joseph and threw him into the prison where the king's prisoners were held, and there he remained. But the Lord was with Joseph in the prison and showed him his faithful love. And the Lord made Joseph a favorite with the prison warden. Before long, the warden put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners and over everything that happened in the prison. The warden had no worries because Joseph took care of everything. The Lord was with him because everything he did and caused everything he did to succeed. Okay. So, like I said, we're all familiar with this story, and I think it's very tough what happened. You wrongfully put in prison, and you're doing the right thing. I think a lot of the time we get, and I'm guilty of it as well. I think you get this. I think this lady, Potiphar's wife, just represents that evil voice in our head that is always going off, always creating tension, and always just making you feel uncomfortable, asking you to do the wrong thing. And some of us give in and we lose that battle, and then others don't. And maybe your story ends a bit differently than Joseph right now. But yeah, I just think credit to him for sticking to his guns. I mean, that's the kind of loyalty that I think we struggle to see in today's time. I think very few people would have done what Joseph's done throughout time, I would argue. Such an easy crime, I would say. Like, if no one's looking, it happens. Did it really happen, Listen, that still means that it did happen. I'm just saying in the context of how easy it is just to get away with it. Okay. So let's start with the messages. The date of Joseph's arrival in Egypt is dateable. Many believe he arrived during the period of Hyksos rulers, foreigners who controlled Egypt for almost 150 years. If Joseph arrived during their rule, it is easy to see why he was rapidly promoted up to the royal ladder, because Hyksos were foreigners themselves. They would not hold this brilliant young foreigner's ancestry against him. That's interesting. I think we're all going through. Shouldn't touch on these things, but I think there's a lot of foreigner talk going on around the world. I think America's got a big problem with it. The UK has got a big problem with it. I know South Africa had a big problem with it for a long time, and same with other countries. So it's just more African countries as well. It's a big thing. So to hear how things have worked here, it's just interesting. Pharaoh was the general name for the kings of Egypt. It was a title like king or president used to address the country's leader. The Pharaoh who placed Joseph in charge of Egypt was a different person from the Pharaoh who enslaved the Hebrews in the book of Exodus. Some more just some knowledge there. Still 39.1, it's on there. Ancient Egypt was a land of great contrasts. People were either rich beyond measure or poverty-stricken. There wasn't much middle ground. Joseph found himself serving Potiphar, an extremely rich officer in Pharaoh's service. Rich families like Potiphar's had elaborate homes with beautiful gardens. They enjoyed live entertainment at home as they chose delicious fruit from expensive bowls. They surrounded themselves with alabaster vases, paintings, beautiful rugs, and hand-carved chairs. Dinner was served on golden tableware, and the rooms were lightened with gold lampstands. Sounds a bit like South Africa, to be entirely honest with you. We have such a big high up and such a big lower down. The middle classes, yeah, it's quite hectic when you think about it. And yeah, ugh, just I could never, I just don't understand that mindset of like having so much like that. Like, I don't know, maybe I just grew up proper middle class. Maybe I just grew up in a house that didn't value these things, but I could never just sit and like buy something because it's expensive, you know? I could never do that. Like, if I'm rich, I'm still gonna be wearing my Pick and Pay top that my girlfriend got me for Christmas, and shorts that I'm going to sleep in from when I started working at the gym before COVID. That's that's just how I am. I'm comfortable, I'm happy, I look at functionality and I'm happy. If it won't break, that will probably be the biggest selling point to me than this thing's wrapped in gold, you know? Potiphar's wife failed to seduce Joseph, who resisted this temptation by saying it would be a sin against God. Joseph didn't say, I'd be hurting you, or I'd be sinning against Potiphar, or I'd be sinning against myself. Under pressure with such excuses are easily rationalized away. Remember that sexual sin is not just between two consenting adults, it's an act of disobedience against God. Interesting. This is the first time that we've read this so far where someone's used a get out of sin card by saying that it's a sin against God. It's always like we saw with Jacob, probably our most recent one, where he addresses that it's sin or it's bad, but not because it's the action is bad, but because it could hurt him in a negative way. Where Joseph has now clearly learned that lesson, and it's an act against God. And listen, never to this degree, okay? I'm just giving you life examples, and the easiest one that I can think of happened today when I have some friends at the gym, or clients as well. They were done training, and the rugby club cancelled trainings because it was raining, lightning, and everything, and I was actually supposed to go there to shoot stuff. So once they cancelled that training, I had nothing to technically do. And they were like, oh no, you must come to the bar with us. And I'm like, I'm not going to a bar. And they're like, no man, it'll be fine. Like, come over. I'm like, I'm not drinking. And they're like, no, like, so am I. And then it's that inverted commas, I'm also not drinking. We're just going to the bar. And I know this group of people, they drink a lot. And then I turned it to, no, I'm fasting, and I think that it will be wrong for me to be put in a place like that with the intentions of drinking and doing all these things, considering that I'm trying to pray to God and be better. And bam! It was like a light went off. Oh, okay. And then it's, why are you fasting? And then the whole conversation shifts. The dynamics go into finding out what I'm doing, why am I doing it, and yeah, I think people, think it's good to have those moments. But yeah, like I say, then ever since this stuff has started, especially doing it second time around, I think I've started applying it a bit more, and yeah, I think it's good. Well, I know it's good, but it just means you isolate yourself from maybe friends or people that you enjoy, because like we say, they just don't match what your goals are and your intentions are. And like I always say, it's fine, you must do you, and I always wish the best on everyone. Like, I wish everyone could go to heaven despite how you are here, because sure, things are bad here, and probably the worst of the worst people are people I wouldn't want in heaven, but so many people are just trying to do what they think's best. And sure, God is best, and I'm glad to know that myself, but other people might just not think the way I do or have the experience I have, and they might just think that their own thing is better. And that's why I say it's just, they don't come to know God, they come to do their own thing. And sometimes it's just sad, man. But Joseph avoided Potiphar's wife as much as possible. He refused her advances and finally ran from her. Sometimes merely trying to avoid temptation is not enough. We must turn and run from it, especially when the temptation seems very strong. It's often the case with sexual temptation. Sexual temptation is so difficult, and it's such a tricky space to navigate because, like, we associate sexual stuff with love. It can be as easy as a kiss, can be more than a kiss. And yeah, I just think with that in mind, I mean, it's a slippery slope going, not kissing to anything else. Well, depends on your age. At my age, probably, yeah, especially in the certain environments, if you've kissed, you probably set up for something else, especially that nightlife. And yeah, these things are, like it says, it's morally wrong. It's wrong against God. You can't, you're doing to someone what, how would I word that right? So what you are doing is doing something to someone that is not there for you to do, but for a future partner, you know? If that's the right way to word it. But yeah, prisons were grim places with foul conditions. They were used to house forced laborers or, like Joseph, the accused who were awaiting trial. Prisoners were guilty until proven innocent, but there was no right to a speedy trial. Many prisoners never made it to court because trials were held at the whim of the ruler. Joseph was in prison for a long time before he appeared before Pharaoh, and then he was called out to interpret a dream, not to stand trial. The story is so cool. I really love this story, man. Sound like I'm upset, but I'm not. I'm just sitting there going, just remember as a kid watching this, like the actual movie. What's it, The Pharaoh of Egypt? I remember that I used to love it, and we could never find it on video or DVD. And my parents tried. It's one thing I gotta give my parents, man. If my sister and I wanted things, especially if it was religious based, they tried, man. Yeah. As a prisoner and slave, Joseph could have seen this situation as hopeless. Instead, he did his best with each small task given to him. His diligence and positive attitude were soon noticed by the warden, who promoted him to prison administrator. And you just breathe. It's tough out here, man. Are you facing a seemingly hopeless predicament, at work, at home, or at school? Follow Joseph's example by taking each small task and doing your best. Remember how God turns Joseph's situation around. He will see your efforts and can reverse even. There it is. There it is. Oh. And he finished the sentence, but I'm sitting there, my head's going like 1,000 miles an hour. So it goes, he will see your efforts and can reverse even overwhelming odds. I just think that's important for anything in your situation, and it goes back to what we said in the beginning. Do your part well. Do what you can. Do it with a good heart, good mindset, and good attitude, with obviously good effort. If it's meant to be, you will see your efforts and can reverse them even with overwhelming odds. And that's us for tonight. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys have a good night, a good day, whatever it is that you're having, whenever you see this, if you ever see this. If you have any different perspectives, any ideas that you'd like to share with me, even words of advice, man. You know, I'm an open book right now. I really have no secrets. It's so bad. I get told all the time, like, I'm the worst person to tell a secret to because I don't keep quiet. But then simultaneously, I'm also the best because sometimes I just genuinely forget, and when I forget, it's gone, man. But yeah, I don't hide anything. I don't feel the need to hide anything. I don't live a life that requires me to hide anything. I'm totally transparent on everything that I can be, and yeah, that's just how I wish all of us were, you know. Everyone's trying to hide things away and stuff. But yeah, if there's one thing you take away, let's just read it again. Are you facing a seemingly hopeless predicament at work, at home, or even at school? Follow Joseph's example by taking every small task and doing your best. Remember how God turned Joseph's situation around. He will see your efforts and can reverse even overwhelming odds. There we go. Have a good night, guys. I'll check you guys on the flip side.